Hello viewers, today for repair I have this little evergreen tree and there's a problem with the lights. So the lights come out of this little box here. It runs off of 3C batteries and it has, of course, a little computer thing on here which also serves as a timer. I'll turn this over. Here's the switch. This turns it on and off. That would be off. That's on, and then that's timer. So it has a problem, and I'm not exactly sure what happened, but this lower portion of the board here has spoiled, and this is where the lead for the lights is supposed to go, right over here. And I don't know how this happened with just 3.6 volts, but somehow this whole thing must have like blown up and this got all bubbly here. And so this whole portion of the board, although it does work if you tack this on here in certain places, there's no way to solder this back on here. The whole corner is like broke off and everything. So I don't have a schematic for this, so this is kind of a nuisance. But I did a trace on this, and of course I started from the wrong side, but this is relatively simple. What we're going to do here is we're going to bypass this segment of the board. Now, this is easy because this point right here is the battery, the positive battery terminal. So what we can do, instead of having this wire go on here, is I'm going to take this lead here from the lights. I'm going to put another wire onto it so it's longer, and I'm going to connect it directly to the battery terminal so that we can bypass all this junky part of the board here. Now this wire, I'm just going to leave it alone because it's more nonsense to deal with, and I don't know, this board's a little finicky, so I'm just going to take an extra lead. I'll put a longer lead on this wire here, and I'm going to attach it onto the battery terminal. So I'll zoom this out here, and what I'm going to do is first I will attach, or I'll remove the lead, or the whatever this thing is, the terminal here. And this probably could be cleaned, but since that's not the source of the problem, and it probably never will be, I am simply not going to do that. And now that I have the terminal out, I'm going to connect this wire, this infamous wire that I use for everything under the sun and then some, and I'm going to solder this onto here. And then there's another case. I wish I had another hand. Actually, on second thought, I am going to remove this from the battery terminals at least, just because it's never going to be used again. And so therefore, there's really no point keeping it there. So now I'm going to use this C-clamp, and I'm going to put this in here. And this is a tool I use all the time for holding things in place. Works really nicely. And I'll put that on there. And I'm going to wrap this around here to hold that in place. And now, hopefully, that's not working as well as I hoped it would, but that should be good enough. And I just realized you probably should cut this because it's way too long. That should be good enough. Okay, so now we're ready to attach this wire onto here. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to attach this to, well actually first what I'll do is I will cut this off here. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to do it from the board, but just cut this off so we don't have that in the way. And now I'm going to connect these two wires, probably, well, what's the best way to connect this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder it and then I'll just put some tape over it to cover the connection. Okay, so that looks like that fits in there nicely. And there's a fair bit of excess on here, so I'm going to remove that. And then we'll strip it again. And this was poorly soldered in China, so there's a glob of nonsense on there, but I'm just going to leave it because I can't be bothered to correct that. As long as it works, that's all I really care. And it will work just fine like that. Alright, I guess there is too much. I don't have a solder vacuum, so this is a pain, but I'm going to have to remove that. Oh, I guess it did work. Okay, well, I'm leaving it then. Well, let's test this out first before I go taping it up. And let's get that in view. In fact, oh, it just broke. Tisk. Alright, well, I guess I'll have to do that again. Just because this is so beyond repair, I think I'm actually going to just cut this off and restrip it. The problem is I'm running out of wire to work with because it's glued in down there and it's going to be a nuisance to try to undo that. Come on. Okay, that'll work. Now, now we can do this a little bit better. Alright, and I think just because this wire is very stiff, instead of taping it, because there's really no need to, I'm just going to take this and push this down like this. so now that's well below where the circuit board sits. So that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, now, well, I'm going to put the battery in and we're going to test it. So, here we go. I'm going to switch it on now. And it doesn't work. Fantastic. I must have made some sort of an error here. Well, I'm going to have to look at this again and see exactly what's going wrong here. Okay, so it turns out I must have traced this wrong, because when I disconnect this black wire here, it seems to quit working, but when I put it back on there, it works fine. So, what I'm going to have to do now is put that back on there, which is kind of a nuisance since I just took it off. But this is what happens when you don't have a schematic to work with. I guess I don't fully understand how this board works, but it's a minor problem. So we're going to have to take this battery terminal back out, and I'm going to just add this wire onto there. And of course I had turned the solder thing off because I thought we were done with that. Turn it back on. I guess this is not hot enough yet. Okay, we'll try it again. Actually, I probably should take these batteries out and then tin the wire, because it's it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, now we'll try this again. And that's not bad. Okay, so I guess the big test is we'll put the batteries in. This doesn't have a lot of slack to work with anymore, which is moderately annoying. And this needs to get pushed back down, otherwise we're going to have some problems. Okay, here we go. Let's try this out. And look at that. It works. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, and out.